All right, let's dive in. We're tackling the world where blockchain tech meets U.S. government regulations.
Yeah, fascinating stuff.
You've given us some seriously interesting sources all about this court case, Van Loon v. Department of the Treasury.
Oh yeah, big case.
It all boils down to immutable smart contracts.
Definitely a mouthful.
We'll break it down and see why this case is making waves.
And why you should care too.
Plus, we've got the Office of Foreign Assets Control, OFAC.
They handle sanctions, right?
Exactly, U.S. economic sanctions.
So lots to untangle.
Immutable smart contracts. It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie.
Kind of does, right?
What are we really talking about here?
Okay, let's start with blockchain.
The basics.
Yeah, imagine a giant digital ledger, totally transparent, can't tamper with it.
Like a massive spreadsheet everyone can see.
That's blockchain. A record of every single transaction.
Okay, I'm with you.
Now, picture lines of code on that blockchain acting like self-executing programs.
Interesting.
Those are smart contracts.
So they do things automatically.
Right, when specific conditions are met.
Kind of like a vending machine. You put in money, choose your snack, boom.
That's a great analogy. No humans needed.
I like that.
Or think of escrow, where funds are released when certain terms are met.
Makes sense.
Smart contracts eliminate the middleman, automate stuff.
Cool. So what's this immutable part?
That's key.
It means they can't be changed, right?
Exactly. Not even by the creators. Once they're on the blockchain.
Forever.
Forever.
Wow, that's a big deal.
Huge implications for transparency and security on some blockchains.
But that must make government oversight tricky.
You got it. And that's where this Van Loon case comes in.
Okay, so let's dive into that. Van Loon v. Department of the Treasury, landmark decision. Why?
Well, it revolved around Tornado Cash,
What's that?
software using these immutable smart contracts, making crypto transactions anonymous.
Anonymous. How?
Think of it as a digital mixer for crypto. Makes it super hard to trace where money comes from or goes.
So the government tried to sanction a piece of code.
It does seem a bit odd, right?
How does that even work?
So OFAC steps in. They're part of the U.S. Treasury.
Okay.
Worried about tools like Tornado Cash being used for illegal stuff, money laundering.
Makes sense.
Raises a big question. Are these immutable smart contracts property?
Under the law.
Exactly. Specifically, IEPA, the International Emergency Economic Powers Act.
If they're property, the government has more control.
Right. Stronger case for regulating or blocking them.
Did the court agree? Were these contracts seen as property?
Nope, they said no.
Interesting. Tell me more.
The judges argued our traditional idea of property means you can own and control it.
You use it, prevent others from using it, sell it.
Exactly. But with these contracts, nobody has that control.
Not even the creators.
Not even them.
That's pretty wild. Code just doing its own thing.
Right. And get this, over 1,100 people helped make Tornado Cash's code immutable.
Wow. So what does that tell us?
It shows how decentralized some blockchain projects are.
Even the original developers gave up control.
Basically handed it over to the network.
So if no one's in control, who's responsible?
Oh, the million-dollar question.
Especially when code is truly autonomous.
Right. Throws a wrench into traditional legal frameworks.
It makes you think, how do you regulate something that's designed to be beyond regulation?
You said it. But to be fair to OFAC,
Yeah.
they have legitimate concerns about misuse, like money laundering.
Right. Our sources mention North Korea's Lazarus Group using Tornado Cash.
Cybercrime is a real issue.
Raises some serious red flags.
Definitely.
But if the court said no to the government, what happens now?
Well, the court basically told Congress, hey, this is your problem now.
So they're saying it's up to lawmakers to figure this out.
Yep. Need new rules for this world of independent code.
So the court threw the ball to Congress.
Through a curveball, you could say.
So what does all this mean for the average person, someone listening right now?
Well, the Van Loon case, it's just the beginning.
The tip of the iceberg.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
a much bigger conversation about how we regulate this new world.
A world where code can act on its own.
It's not just about crypto or blockchain either.
It's about any tech with autonomous, immutable code.
Absolutely. This case has implications far beyond what we've discussed so far.
That's pretty mind-blowing.
It is. And it leads us to another crucial point. And this leads us to another crucial point.
What's that?
The court didn't just dismiss the government's arguments.
They didn't.
Nope. They actually went back to the legal drawing board.
Wow, really dug deep.
They did. They looked at the definition of property.
As it was understood way back when.
Back in 1977, when IEPA was enacted.
Take it old school.
Exactly. Trying to understand the basics.
What'd they find in those old law books?
Well, they found that property traditionally means you can possess and control something.
Like it's yours, you can use it, sell it.
Right, you have those bundle of rights.
And with these immutable smart contracts,
Those rights don't really apply.
because no one can truly control them.
Exactly, not in the traditional way.
That creates some serious legal gray areas.
It does, makes it really tricky.
So how do you regulate something that doesn't fit into our usual categories of ownership?
That's the big question. The court even rejected the idea that these contracts are like regular
Or
contracts.
services.
Yeah, they said a contract needs agreement between people.
And with these smart contracts,
You're dealing with code, not a person.
right, so it's not a two-way street. It's more like giving a command to a machine.
A very complex machine. And remember, in the case of Tornado Cash,
Yeah,
over 1,000 people were involved in making that code.
that's a lot of cooks in the kitchen.
It is. Shows how decentralized some of these projects can be.
But also raises the question of who's in charge
Right, and that's what the court was grappling with.
and their solution.
They basically said, this is for Congress to figure out.
So they punted it to the lawmakers,
Basically, they acknowledged the problem.
but said it's beyond the scope of the current legal framework.
Exactly, it needs new rules.
New rules for a new world.
And remember, this isn't just about Tornado Cash or cryptocurrency.
It's bigger than that.
Way bigger. This applies to any tech using autonomous, immutable code.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Decentralized finance, supply chain management, maybe even AI.
Wow, so this case has implications far beyond what we initially thought.
It really does. It's forcing us to rethink some fundamental concepts.
Like what?
Like property, ownership, responsibility.
In a world where code can act independently,
Exactly. It's a whole new ballgame.
it's almost like we're seeing a power shift.
Interesting. How so?
Not just between people, but between humans and technology.
I see what you mean.
As we create systems that can operate on their own.
We have to reconsider who's really in control.
And what that means for how we govern ourselves.
That's a crucial point. Our traditional models might not be enough anymore.
So what does this mean for the average person? Someone listening to this right now?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is this.
Yeah.
This case is a wake-up call. We're in a new era.
Things are changing fast.
Exactly. Technology is changing the rules of the game.
And we need to understand those new rules.
Not just for techies, but for everyone.
It's about being aware, being informed.
Participating in the conversation.
Because these changes affect us all.
Absolutely. This isn't just something happening out there.
It's happening to all of us.
And it's up to us to decide how we respond.
Engage with it, shape it, don't just let it happen.
Exactly. Reclaim our agency.
So this isn't about saying yes or no to blockchain.
It's about understanding it.
The nuances, the possibilities, the risks.
Right. It's about having those tough conversations.
About how we want this technology to evolve.
And how we want to govern it.
And that brings us to another important point.
And that brings us to another important point, the court's decision.
About Tornado Cash.
Yeah. Doesn't mean technologies like that have, a free pass.
Not a Wild West situation.
Right. It just means the legal system as it stands.
At least how this court sees it.
Exactly. It needs an upgrade.
So not a Wild West, but more like, what? A call for some legal creativity.
Yeah. I like that. Legal innovation.
What would that even look like?
Well, the court acknowledged the government's concerns.
About illegal activities and all that.
Of course. But they basically said we need more nuanced solutions.
Not just jamming these new technologies into old legal categories.
Exactly. Got to think outside the box.
Sounds like a tough challenge.
It is, but also a huge opportunity.
How so?
We're at this really interesting crossroads, law and tech colliding.
And the law's got to catch up.
It does, but it can't stifle innovation either.
So a delicate balance.
Exactly. We need to understand the technology, the good and the bad.
Move beyond the hype.
And have those tough conversations, How is this tech shaping our world?
Sounds like this case is a call for more public discussion.
It is. Getting everyone involved, not just lawmakers and tech experts.
Everyone.
Yeah, everyone. This impacts all of us. We need to be informed, engaged.
Not just letting technology dictate the future.
Exactly. It's about reclaiming our agency.
So it's not about blindly accepting or rejecting blockchain.
It's about understanding the nuances.
The different ways it can be used, the potential consequences.
Right. Having those thoughtful, informed discussions.
About how this technology evolves.
And how we govern it, how we shape its future.
It's about recognizing that we have a say in all of this.
Absolutely. We're not just passive bystanders.
This case really highlights that, the power of interpretation.
Legal interpretation, how it can shape the course of technology.
And how that interpretation is constantly evolving.
Right. As technology changes, so does our understanding of it.
It's an ongoing process, back and forth.
A dialogue between the law and innovation, progress and responsibility.
So for our listeners, what's the key takeaway here? What should they be thinking about?
I think the Van Loon case is a powerful reminder that we're living in a time of incredible change.
Technological change.
Right. And this change is forcing us to rethink some fundamental assumptions.
About how we govern ourselves, about what ownership even means.
Exactly. And it's not about fearing the future. It's about engaging with it. Yes. Stay informed, stay curious.
And stay engaged.
This is happening now. The future is being written.
And we all have a role to play.
This has been a really fascinating deep dive.
It has. I've learned a lot.
Me too. And I hope our listeners have as well.
I hope so. It's amazing how a single legal case can open up so many questions.
About technology, about society, about the future.
And to everyone listening, thank you for joining us on this journey.
We appreciate you being here.
We'll be back soon with another deep dive into the topics that matter.
Keep exploring, keep learning.
And keep questioning.